Hello students, my name is Sourabh Mishra. I welcome you all in the GS Core platform and the faculty of Anthropology optional, and today we are here to conduct a live interactive session with you all regarding the Anthropology optional, right. So basically what we are going to do here, we will try to set a path for you so that you can channelize your preparation properly and you understand the requirement of the examination, how to channelize your preparation in tune with the requirement of examination, right. So let us see the building blocks of anthropology as an optional. Now you all know the what all aspects are important for the subject, why people are choosing this, because of the scoring nature of it, because of the short syllabus that you can conclude the entire syllabus in 3-4 months of time. So these are the positive aspects, and in last few years we are seeing the massive amount of results from this optional, and people are scoring very decent, more than 280, 300 plus, right. So all of the factors makes this optional very interesting and very you can say the acceptance is very high among the students. But apart from this, the major important aspect is the interesting nature of this subject, that you get to know about yourself, the way we have evolved physically, the way we look today, the way we have evolved our culture. So both the aspect, physical aspect as well as cultural aspect, we get to know in this particular subject. So while reading also, because optional is something you spend a lot of time with it, right. Not only 3-4 months requires for the preparation of it, but the if you are writing 2 attempts, 3 attempts, so throughout you are in touch with this subject. So the subject has to be something which is appealing you, which is which makes sense to you, or which is very interesting, right. So in that sense the subject becomes very you can say catchy for the students, and it is relevant for all the background, not necessarily from the biological background, even people from engineering background, medical background, management, accounts, or the social sciences. This subject serves well for every background of students, right. Now in this session I have planned you can say a path for you, how to channelize your preparation, but meanwhile whoever is watching live, you can put in your comments directly. I will be seeing that and I will respond to your queries. Whatever doubts you may have for the subject, whether you are confused with whether to take anthropology or not, do you have any doubt, you can put in the comment section. I will be responding it live here, right. Now let us see, the first aspect is understanding the syllabus microlisting. Now you see UPSC has already given us a proper syllabus for the subject. Now why do we require microlisting of it? Now you see it is very important to set the boundaries, but how do you set the boundary for a subject? It is a new subject for you, you have never read it before. So whenever you pick a particular book for reading it, you are not aware that how much to read. So it is very important that you even break down the syllabus given by UPSC, do the micro listing of it and set the boundary beforehand, right. Otherwise what will happen, you will spend a lot of time in areas which is not relevant for the examination. Now how do you do this micro listing? Now definitely for this to do, you need certain understanding what kind of questions UPSC is asking, and here comes the role of previous year questions. Now previous year questions, people generally see it in terms of solving it, that how to get model answers for the previous year question. That is one approach, I am not saying that is wrong, but it is more important that what you are taking out of those previous year questions. When I say taking out of those previous year question, that means it gives you certain information. What are those information? Number one, it sets the boundary. It sets the boundary for the syllabus. Second, it provides you thrust areas, in which area UPSC is focusing more and asking frequently from that particular area. So those are the thrust area you get to know from the previous year question. Then you get to know how they are framing questions, how to frame questions. Now you see, in the syllabus you are given some keywords, those are the concepts of the subject. Now the examiner is taking that concept and trying to build a question. So the journey of concept to question becomes very important to understand. Then only you will be able to understand that if you are reading something, for example, if you are reading classical evolutionism, so that is a theory. Now within that theory there are various concepts involved. For example, there are psychic unity of mankind, there is a concept of parallels, there is a concept of survivals. So those are specific questions, those concepts. Now UPSC, when they are framing question, they will take these concepts and try to come up with some questions. So if you understand this journey, of concept to question, your reading becomes very effective. Whenever you are reading a new concept, you have an idea beforehand that how a particular question can be framed from this concept. Now how do you understand that? You do a reverse engineering. What do you do in reverse engineering? That you see the outcome, and from the outcome you get to know the inputs. That is what reverse engineering is, right? People who are from engineering background can relate it very well, that how do we see the outcome, and based on the outcome we change our inputs, right? Now here, what is the outcome? The questions which you are getting in the UPSC examination. Now you see the question, and from here you try to extract the concept which is asked there. So now what you are doing, you are going from question to concept. So this reverse engineering process is to understand how concept to question journey is being done. Getting my point? So my purpose here is to explain you that first step in reading any subject has to be syllabus microlisting. Second step becomes the concept to question. Building the understanding how questions are being framed, right? Because the entire subject revolves around smaller concepts there. So in the foundation course, our focus generally is in creating a structure where you understand the core concepts of the subject, and when you understand the core concept, you have an understanding of concept to question, then you can go for answer writing practice, right? So put in your questions here. If you have any doubt in understanding these frameworks, let me know in the comment section. So Prabhakar has asked that which part of the syllabus is more scoring. Now you see, generally we understand that physical part is the more scoring part, but here you need to understand that when something becomes scoring, when there is less scope of cutting marks, and when that happens when the answer is very objective. So if you are writing something whose answer is very objective, there is less scope of cutting marks. When you are writing something very subjective which has multiple interpretations, the examiner gets a chance to cut the marks there. So for example, if you are writing something on socio-cultural part, if you are writing an answer on theories, now theories has multiple interpretations. Even the thinker has given a thought, based on that thought many people have different types of interpretation. So if you are writing something on theories, examiner may have some other perspective on that. So there is a chance of a mismatch and they can cut marks there. So it becomes less scoring. But suppose you are writing, attempting something from physical anthropology, suppose you are attempting the comparative analysis of ape and human beings, right, skeletal similarities and dissimilarities. Now there is no subjectivity in that. You just create a table and put in your response there, right. So that becomes very objective answer, and in that there is very less scope of cutting marks. Even with the archaeology section, what happens? Suppose you are asked to write about the tool technology of Mesolithic period. Now the tools which have been found there, they are very objective, there is no scope of subjectivity there, right. So if you attempt a question from archaeology, that is also evidence based and it is also objective. So very less scope of cutting marks there. So whenever you are choosing a particular set in the examination, make sure that you are choosing a set where there is question from physical anthropology as well as archaeological section. Although these nowadays they are framing the blocks in such a way that each of the section is covered in the particular block, that is a different thing, but you try to attempt more question from physical anthropology, that becomes very scoring. Another question here is anthro beneficial for science background? No, it is in a very you can say superficial way we can say that it is beneficial for science background because of its objective nature, because people who are from science background, they have a tendency to see things objectively, so they understand this subject very well. But even people from social sciences, they also have a reasoning ability and they appreciate this optional as well. So it is not that it will help science background students. Yes, in genetics part there is requirement of some biological knowledge. Now that knowledge is very bare minimum, which can be achieved by reading your class 10th NCERT book as well, right. So this subject is equally beneficial for all the backgrounds of students. So do not think on these lines that I am not from science background, I will be facing difficulty in choosing anthropology as optional, right. It is equally beneficial and equally doable for all the background. Yes, Sharath, it is beneficial for humanities background students as well. Even people who are trying to switch their optional, people might have public administration, people might have political science, they have given 2-3 attempts. Now when they want to switch their optional, they go directly for anthropology, because in the 3-4 months of time they can easily cover the syllabus and get good marks as well, right. So you keep posting your questions, whatever doubt you may have, I'll address them parallelly. Now you see, as I was saying that syllabus microlisting, concept to question understanding, role of PYQ in syllabus microlisting is very important, and for this setting up of the boundary you require some kind of guidance, right. People who are trying to read the subject on their own, yes, that is also doable, but the issue with that, you are not able to set the boundary because you are new to subject. So you get some kind of guidance so that you get this micro listing done properly beforehand, and based on that you are starting your journey. Even understanding the sequence of the subject is very important, which part you should choose first in your reading. Otherwise what happens, you start from any section, for example you have started from physical anthropology and you do not have any idea about the socio-cultural part. Now interlinkages becomes very difficult, but when you are taking some guidance, a proper path, we provide you that what is the best logical sequence to take when someone starts their preparation, right. So guidance here becomes very important, which provides you a boundary, a proper path to start your journey, right. Second, the understanding of the concept. Then third, attaching the concept with the question to know how UPSC or examiner is setting questions. So understanding the examiner point of view is very important for better outcome in your examination, and the understanding or the mindset of examinee is very important when you are studying and preparing the subject, right. So the third aspect which I am going to talk about is the answer writing. Answer writing. Now answer writing is the final outcome. Answer writing is the final outcome because that is your final answer copy is the reflection of your personality, reflection of your knowledge. The examiner is not aware of how many books you have read, right, in the preparation, but they will understand your knowledge only through the answers which you have written. So the final outcome is the answers which you are going to write. Now based on that outcome, you must channelize your preparation in line with the final outcome. That even if you are making notes in the while you are reading something, now that notes has to be in the format in which you are going to write the final answer. So if you are making notes which is not relevant and you are not going to use it in the final answer, that notes is very irrelevant. So you have to be very conscious in structuring your notes beforehand based on the requirement of the examination. So there comes the role of answer writing, and that has to be incorporated in the foundation course itself, because only getting the knowledge, only understanding the subject is not going to give you 300 plus marks unless you are doing a proper amount of work on answer writing skills, right. And that skill, as we are saying that answer writing is a skill, you know that any skill cannot be acquired in 1 or 2 months. It is a long drawn process. You have to be in the process for a longer period of time to build your muscle or to build the skill which you want to build there. Now for that, it is very important that you start answer writing in the initial stages of your preparation only. I am not saying in the initial stages your answer will have a perfect structure. It will take some time, but at least you will have to start putting words in the paper, because it is required that your mind and your hand should be in coordination. Now to break that inertia of answer writing, it is very important that you practice in the initial stages of your preparation. So in our foundation course also, what we do generally, we provide you reflective exercises on a daily basis, that whatever section you are reading, you are understanding, you should be writing at least 2 answers on those concepts. Then only it becomes very evident that whatever you understanding, your thought and your expression is in line. So in mains or in optional answer writing, 2 things are very important. One is the clarity of thought. Clarity of thought, and second is clarity in expression. If you take care of these 2 things, your answer writing exercise is done. Why I am saying that? Clarity of thought means the conceptual clarity. If someone understand a particular concept, they have a clarity of thought. But sometimes what happens, that even if you are clear on the concepts, now you are not able to express that properly in your answer. So there is a mismatch between clarity of thought and clarity in expression. So you will have to do your SWOT analysis in your preparation, that whether both the things is properly your strength or any one of these skills are weakness in you. So you will have to work on that, right. So that SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity and threat, can only be done with a mentor who can read your answer and tell you that whether you are lacking in clarity of thought or you are lacking in clarity in expression. And based on this analysis only, you will take the next step. So without you can say without analyzing these, it will be you can say random preparation. You will not see your preparation which is going towards your goal, right? So these two, working on these two becomes very important. That is why we have incorporated the reflective exercises in your curriculum, that every day when you are reading something, you get 2 questions on that, you write it, and the very next day I will evaluate that and I'll tell you that whether you are lacking in clarity of thought, which is the concept, or you are lacking on clarity in expression, which is the structure and presentation part of your answer, right? Okay, Sushil is asking that, sir, Anthro is good for commerce student. Yes, definitely. Generally we suggest people that in whichever area you have done your graduation, you should go for that particular area. But why we say that? Because you have already read the subject once. But generally, you know what happens, that in college time how we study, that may not be very relevant for the standard of UPSC. So you will have to again restart everything. So if you are feeling that you are not very comfortable in commerce or accounts, definitely you want to change to some other optional, definitely you can choose anthropology, because in 3-4 months of time you can get a good grasp over the subject, and based on that you can segregate your time for GS and optional as well, because in the huge syllabus of UPSC time management becomes an issue, and you know that some optionals takes a lot of time, like 6 months, 8 months also. So if someone has a time crunch and they are looking for an optional which is rewarding also, definitely go for anthropology as an optional. You keep posting your questions, I'll take up parallelly those. Fine. So in the basic discussion of ours, we spoke about syllabus microlisting, which should be done based on the previous year question to set the boundary, understand the thrust area, and get a clarity that how the questions are being framed. So syllabus microlisting plays an important role here. Then you must understand concept to question and question to concept, the journey. If you understand the journey properly, definitely from a particular concept you will be able to understand or preempt the probable questions also. Then comes the role of answer writing, which is the final outcome of the preparation. So that has to be incorporated with the you can say foundation course that we have done through the reflective exercises, daily 2 questions. So if you have 100 classes, definitely you will be writing 200 questions, and those 200 questions will be evaluated maybe in terms of understanding your strength, weakness, opportunity and threat. And when you get that on a daily basis, definitely your preparation will be in a track, right? Now, by understanding these 3 pillars, syllabus microlisting, concept to question and importance of answer writing, now let us try to have a glimpse of what the subject anthropology is. People who are very new, they might be thinking that they are not very acquainted with the subject, they do not know the components of it, the basic building blocks of the subject here. Now these 3 points are to give you an idea how to create your path, how to take the journey in a logical way, right? Not just taking ember and start reading from page 1. It will take you nowhere, because it is a very bulky book and very few chapters of that book are relevant for the UPSC examination. So in the starting point itself, you should be very clear what to read, how much to read, right? And whatever you are reading, how to apply that. If you take care of these things, then your preparation will be on track, and you will see the improvement in 1 or 2 months itself, that you are achieving the outcome. With reading, you are also writing well. Okay? Now let us see some building blocks of the subject to get an idea what the subject is for a newcomer, right? Meanwhile, keep posting your questions and doubts in the comment section. Okay, sir, how much time ideally it should take for completing the syllabus? Now you see, for completion of the syllabus, there is no standard time limit. If someone has to write the examination is 2025, now they have 2 years of time now, right? So they can take 1 year time in preparing the subject. They can do self-study as well. They can explore different areas. But people who are writing in 2024, they have 1 year of time. Now in this 1 year, they will have to complete the GS, entire GS as well as optional also. So for them it is very important that they set a deadline for the completion of the subject, which ideally should be 3 to 4 months of time. If you are incorporating answer writing practice as well, that should be completed in 4 months of time. Generating the, you can say, understanding the concepts, applying that concept through the answer writing, and finally practicing through test series. So the entire thing has to be somewhere between 4 to 4.5 months. That should be the ideal time, but do not force yourself to adhere to that time limit, because you may be burdening yourself a lot. You have to see, you have to be very flexible in terms of setting up your goals, right? So you take a 2 months of time for paper 1, see whether you are able to complete that in 2 months. If not, take a 1 month extra for that, then you go for paper 2. So there is no harm in changing your timeline according to your requirement. So ideally it should be 4 to 4.5 months including answer writing practice, but for someone if it is taking a bit more, there is no harm in that. It totally depends when you are going to write the examination. Fine. Someone is asking, Muzammil is asking that, hello sir, is Anthro good as I have sociology in my graduation? Yes Muzammil, you can go for anthropology if you have sociology in your graduation, because you are aware of the socio-cultural part of the syllabus, right? You are very clear on what culture is, what society is, different institutions like marriage, family, kinship, economic organization, political organization, religion. So all those aspects you might have studied in your sociology in your graduation as well. So you have a upper hand when you come to anthropology. The entire one section of socio-cultural part is already done by you in your graduation. So you will definitely get an edge before the others, because it will help you in grasping the concepts there. So definitely you can go for anthropology if you have a sociological background. Now when we talk about the building blocks of the subject, broadly we categorize that in 4 parts. One is socio-cultural, second is physical, third is linguistic, and fourth is archaeological. Now you see, socio-cultural part, as I told you while addressing the question of Muzammil, that it includes the understanding of culture, society, different institutions like marriage, family, kinship, economic organization, political organization, religion. And to sum all the up, we have research method and theories. Now you see, these all components makes the one block of the subject, which is socio-cultural anthropology. Now people who have sociology as their background, as the Muzammil asked us, so they have basic understanding of this part. So socio-cultural part becomes easier for them. Now what are the basic requirement, or you can say basic aim of socio-cultural part? Here we are trying to understand our cultural evolution, at what time the culture has started and how it has progressed to form different institutions which we see today. So from you have a comparative analysis of the social institution of past and the social institutions of present, and how this journey has happened, what other factors has led to forming of these social institutions, right? So the entire cultural evolution is understood in socio-cultural block of anthropology here. Second block is the physical anthropology. Now physical anthropology, there are two aspects. One is physical evolution and the second is genetics. Now broadly, physical anthropology block can be divided into physical evolution and genetics. Now physical evolution means to understand how the physical evolution has happened, why we look like this today. So if you know about Darwin's theory of organic evolution, that applies to every organism. Now how we have evolved over the period of time to become the most complex animal of this planet, right? So how we started from quadrupedalism and now we are walking on two legs, bipedalism. Because of the erect posture which we have, how different organs have changed their shape, their functions, how it has impact on the other aspects of our life. So those understanding comes from the physical evolution. When someone says that our ancestors were apes, now in the physical evolution part we see how from apes we have evolved to human beings, right? So this physical evolution is in the physical anthropology part. Apart from it, there is genetics also. Now the genetics part is to understand the variation in the human beings. What do you mean by variation? Now you see that if every individual has evolved from ape to human beings now, so if all of them have gone through the same process, we all should look equally, right? Similarly. But you see around yourself, everyone has a different color, everyone has different height, different intellectual capability. So from where these differences are coming? So to understand the variations in the population, we need to understand the genetics. What are the role of genes here? What are the role of environment here? How do you make balance between genetic effect and the environmental effect on building the characters of human beings, right? To understand the variation in the population, we will have to study genetics. So this part of physical anthropology consists of understanding the evolution and understanding the variation, and all the units which is given in your syllabus, the purpose is same, to understand how human beings have come to this physical form and how different variations are there in the population. Fine. So this is the second block in your syllabus of anthropology, physical anthropology, which is very much scoring, as I earlier spoke about. Third part is the linguistic. Linguistic means the study of languages. Now the study of languages, why it is so much important that it is treated as a separate block in the subject? Because language is the vehicle of culture. So when whatever we are studying in the cultural evolution, through understanding of language, it gives us an understanding how these cultural traits are translated to the new generation, or in the same generation how it is translated to others as well. So for that translation we require language. So understanding of linguistic becomes very important here. We are not going to study all the languages which the world have, that is not the purpose, but we need to understand the social context of language. Social context of language means that you understand the components of a language based on that society. For example, suppose there is very less emphasis of gender in the English language. We only emphasize, we have different words only in third person, right? For first and second person we use the similar words. So gender emphasis is very less, but when you see the Hebrew language of Israel, there is much more emphasis on the gender in the language. So based on the construct of the language, when we study the societies, English society and the Hebrew speaking society, we see that children from both the society, they in English society they develop the sense of gender at a very later stage of their life, because the language specifically does not tell them that two genders are different. But in Hebrew language, the children, they build the sense of gender differentiation at a very early stage of their life. Now this is the social context of language, that how language in turn influence the behavior of people and accordingly they behave in their society. So those part we study in the linguistic anthropology, which is the third part. I hope that is very clear to you. And also we try to interlink the physical evolution with the development of language. We will see a flowchart also to make you understand what I am explaining here. But at a basic level, you understand that linguistic anthropology deals with different languages and their social context. The last and an important block of the subject is archaeological anthropology. Now you see, in socio-cultural part we are talking about cultural evolution, in physical part we are talking about physical evolution. But what evidences do we have to justify our theories here? How to justify someone that the cultural evolution has happened in this manner or the physical evolution has happened in this manner? We require evidences for that, right? Now archaeological anthropology gives us those evidences. So basic idea of archaeology is to find out evidences and make sense of those evidences, connect those with the cultural evolution as well as physical evolution. Fine. So evidences means, in archaeological evidences what we get? In the archaeological excavations we can get the element of pottery, or you can say we can get some bones, skull evidences. So basically we can get cultural evidences and we can get biological evidences. Biological evidences in terms of bones, in terms of skeletal remains, in terms of skull, right? So when we get that through carbon dating, we understand the timeline from which that evidence belongs to. And when we reconstruct the body, we get some physical characters of people from that period. So the biological evidence or the fossil remains gives us evidences of physical evolution. For example, suppose you have got a skull of Australopithecus which is having cranial capacity of 500 to 600 cc, right? And when you compare the skull of human beings today, which is somewhere around 1400 cc. So from this evidence we can clearly justify the point that earlier the brain capacity was less. Over the period of time with physical evolution, the brain size increased. So we get that evidence from the fossil remains which has found from archaeological excavation, right? right? So whatever we are understanding in physical evolution, we justify that through the evidences of archaeology. Fine. Now suppose we get some cultural evidences that when people started using potteries, when people started using fire, when they started cultivating crops. So all of those from archaeological excavation, we date it through carbon dating and other different dating methods, and we try to understand at which time scale what cultural evidences do we have, whether it justifies our theory of cultural evolution or not, right. So that is the core idea behind reading archaeological anthropology. So I hope this 4 blocks of the subject is very clear to you. Whoever is now thinking of taking anthropology optional and not aware what constitute this subject. So for them, this is a basic understanding for the building blocks: socio-cultural part, physical anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and archaeology, right. Now let me see the questions what they have asked. Okay, how much time ideally a student should allocate for anthropology optional on a daily basis? Now this is again a very subjective question, that when you are targeting the examination, if someone is targeting for 2023, they have very less amount of time, and at this moment they must be focusing on prelims examination. So for them allocating time for optional at this stage, I would suggest that do not spend more than 2 hours on a daily basis on optional, and that too for the next 1.5 months. After that, focus entirely on prelims. After prelims, you see about the optional what you can do. People who are writing for 2024, now you have more than 1 year now, right. So at this moment you should be focusing on completing your optional subject entirely, and then you go for GS preparation. Parallelly you can revise your optional. So for them, students for 2024, I would suggest at this moment at least spend 4 to 5 hours of your daily routine on optional subject. Try to complete it by the end of June or July with answer writing practice, and after once you complete the entire thing, then you can allocate 2 hours daily or 2.5 hours daily for revision, right, and rest of the time you can spend on GS preparation and current affair preparation. So completing optional will give you a perspective beforehand. You will have a clarity in the entire subject. Then accordingly you can plan the revision as well as test series practice, right. So completion of optional will give you a boosted confidence in GS preparation also, because you know that you have done one part, 500 marks you have already completed. So you get a mental you can say confidence in dealing with other papers of GS as well. If the optional is not completed beforehand, you get very anxious that still my optional is left, I am stuck with GS, right. So to get that mental clarity also, it is advisable that people who are targeting for the next year go for the foundation course now, complete the entire optional and just revise it on a regular basis. Your 500 marks will be taken care of, and rest of the time you can prepare for GS, essay and current affairs, etc. Okay, another question, Pursue IS is asking that is current affairs important from point of view of anthropology? Okay, so you see this is an advantage of anthropology. You can say that the subject is very static. Subject is static. Why the subject is static? Because you see anthropological research takes a lot of time. It takes 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and that too very conclusive evidences does not come out to make changes in the syllabus. So if you see the syllabus of anthropology, it has remained like this from long. No updation has been done because it is inherently a static subject. So if you analyze the previous year questions also, you will see that similar kind of questions are being asked, which is static in nature. Now, in the recent time, they are trying to provide some kind of dynamic aspect to the question, but the answer, the content still remains the static. So, talking about the role of current affairs here, the role of current affairs is only in taking examples or taking new case studies. Apart from that, there is no role of current affairs here. People generally, you will see that there are channels or people who are providing you news of related to anthro. So, what they generally do, they in newspaper, whenever there is a news related to any tribe, they will consider it as relevant to anthropology just because a tribe name is given there. So, that approach you should not take. Where you are going to use that article, you are spending your time in reading that article thinking that it is relevant to anthro, but apart from an example, the article does not have any relevance, right. So, use current affairs, yes, whenever you come across something which you can map directly to your optional syllabus, read about it and very categorically take out one point from the article which you are going to write in the answer. Apart from that, there is no role. You will never see that UPSC is asking a question based on the current event. The current event can only be utilized in form of example and case study to enrich your answer. The entire answer will be static. 1 or 2 point should be from the current relevance or contemporary relevance. That's it. So, do not think much about the preparation of current affairs in terms of anthropology. You must be aware. For example, UPSC has asked you a question that where do you situate live-in relationship in the institution of marriage? Now, it is not a current affairs question. It is the current changes in the society which we are seeing. If the live-in relationship is increasing in urban areas, now from anthropological point of view, where do you situate it in the institution of marriage? Now, you can see this is a dynamic question, but the answer is rooted in the knowledge of static understanding of marriage. That marriage is what are the functions of marriage, what are the structure of marriage. So, if you analyze the structural perspective, if you analyze the functional perspective of marriage and then you compare it with the live-in relationship, whether live-in relationship also fulfills all the functions which marriage fulfills. If not, then what are those areas where there is differences? For example, marriage fulfills the social needs, but live-in relationship does not fulfill the social needs. The obligation of childbirth, the legitimacy of child comes from the marriage as an institution, which is very vague in live-in relationship. The strength of a relationship is much more in the marriage as an institution, which is not in the live-in relationship. So, you see the positive aspects where there is similarity and you see the negative aspect where there is differences. That is what UPSC wanted to ask there, right. But the question is not current affairs based, it is the current or contemporary changes in the society which is happening for a long period of time. Now they are asking questions on that, right. So, current affairs has a role in broadening up your understanding, but they will not going to ask you a direct question related to current affairs. Astha Goswami is asking, sir, how much time should 2025 aspirant give to optional subject? Okay, Astha, so first of all, I would tell you that if the subject is new for you, for example, if you have taken anthropology as an optional, I would suggest you to go for a foundation course, complete the entire syllabus in 3 to 4 months of time. That section is sorted, you understood the entire syllabus. Now go for the test series which is included in the foundation course. So, now revise one section, give test on that, again revise another section, give a sectional test on that. So, you weave your preparation with GS as well as optional, so that you are in touch with the optional for a longer period of time, because it should not be the case that you study the foundation right now and then you forget about the subject, right? You have to be in touch with the subject because you are writing in 2025. There is a lot of time. So go for the foundation course, strengthen your basics, then build upon it while you are revising. In that period you value add in your notes, then you write the test to understand whether your answer writing skills are being improved or not, right? So this is an ideal time for you when you focus on your optional subject, complete it and mentally get clarity that I have done my part on optional, 500 marks is being taken care of, right? After that you prepare your GS and then parallelly revise your optional and write tests there. Pursue IS is asking, sir diagrams कितने important हैं anthropology में? Definitely diagrams बहुत important हैं. ये ऐसा subject है जो हमको scope देता है diagrams बनाने का. Whenever you see any diagram in an answer copy, you feel good, right? That a particular concept has been explained through a diagram, through a flow chart. So it gives a better presentation of your answer and it saves up a lot on your word limit, right? So आप उसको एक डायग्राम और एक फ्लो चार्ट के थ्रू एक कॉम्प्लेक्स कॉन्सेप्ट को एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं जहां कम वर्ड्स यूज होंगे. अगर उसी डायग्राम को एक्सप्लेन आप पैराग्राफ्स में करें या पॉइंट में करें तो काफी वर्ड्स एग्जॉस्ट हो जाएंगे. उस चीज से बचने के लिए अगर आप डायग्राम यूज करते हैं और फ्लो चार्ट्स यूज करते हैं तो आपका आंसर काफी इफेक्टिव बनता है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हर आंसर में आप डायग्राम को जबरदस्ती इंक्लूड करें, दैट इज नॉट द पर्पस, बट वेयरएवर देयर इज रेलेवेंस, जहां आपको रेलेवेंस दिखे कि यहां मैं एक कॉन्सेप्ट को डायग्राम के थ्रू एक्सप्रेस कर सकता हूं या कर सकती हूं, वहां डेफिनेटली आप उस चीज को यूज करें. दूसरे सब्जेक्ट में ये एक ड्रॉबैक है जहां डायग्राम्स को ज्यादा यूज नहीं किया जा सकता है, लेकिन अगर आप फिजिकल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी देखें तो हर यूनिट में आपको स्कोप मिलता है डायग्राम और फ्लो चार्ट बनाने का, और उसके वजह से आपका आंसर थोड़ा अट्रैक्टिव दिखता है, थोड़ा ज्यादा स्कोरिंग भी बनता है, right? तो socio-cultural part it is very difficult to draw diagram, although you can draw flow charts there, but in physical and archaeological section, archaeology you can use maps in each of your answer. In physical part you can use diagrams. For example, if there is a question on comparative study of anatomical study of man and ape, there जो भी differences और similarities आप बता रहे हैं, suppose in terms of skull, you draw the skull of ape, you draw the skull of human being, and you show the differences right there. So with the diagram, if you are showing all the differences, even the examiner need not read your points. They can just go through the diagram and understand that you have a conceptual clarity about the differences. They will give you marks and go ahead. So while using the diagrams, what you are doing, you are making the life of examiner easier, and whenever you make the life of examiner easier, there is a chance that you will get better marks, right? So try to use diagrams properly, and wherever required you use diagrams there only. It is not necessary that you have to draw diagram in each and every answer. That also looks mechanical and not required here. Fine. Pursue IS is asking, sir, I am from science background, will anthropology be thoda easy for me? Yes, definitely. In physical part, physical evolution as well as genetics, if you have basic understanding of what cell is, how cell division happens, what are somatic cells, germinal cells, what are chromosomes, DNA, gene, their functions, if the basic understanding of genetics is clear to you, definitely you will be able to build upon that easily. So people who are from science background, number one, if you are from biological background, you will get some kind of understanding of genetics beforehand. If you are from maths or physics or PCM background, definitely you will not be getting an edge like this, but since you have cultivated the objective bent of mind, understanding this rational subject becomes very easier for you. And for writing also, for example, people who are from science background, they have very they have not written you can say very much, because the options there, if you have maths background, physics background, you are not writing in sentences, you are deriving concepts there, you are applying that concepts, right? So answer writing is something which the science background people should work on. People who are from humanity background, they are very comfortable in writing many pages and they can express their views very properly. But from science background people has to work on this skill also. So if you are from science background, try to write more, try to build the habit of expressing your thoughts properly, right? Which takes a little bit of time, but if you are starting up early, definitely you can do that as well. So that is about the science background. There is no harm in choosing the optional. In understanding you will not get any difficulty, but in answer writing, although if you compare different humanity subject like sociology, political science, psychology, so there you need much more clarity in expression as compared to anthropology. Why? It is very scientific in nature. You can write in the point format, use diagrams, use flowchart, and your answer will be done. So even if you have lack of clarity in expression, anthro will cover for that. But if you go for subjects like sociology or you can say psychology, where you need, or philosophy, where clarity in expression is very much important to convey your thought there, you may face difficulty. So anthro will cover you that in that space if you are having difficulty in expression. Okay, दिव्यांशु is asking that मेरा optional PSIR है but वो बहुत डायनेमिक है जो कि कवर करना टफ हो जाता है. Should I change it to anthropology? Now, Divyanshu, this is a very personal call which you have to take. Yes, I agree with your point that subjects like PSIR, public administration, sociology, definitely those are very dynamic in nature. So even after completing your PSIR optional, you will have to keep updating yourself. For example, in IR, every day something new is happening. So you will have to be in touch with the current happenings and keep updating your PSIR notes there. So that pain I understand, but whether for that only you need to switch to anthropology as an optional, that is something I cannot tell you from here. That depends upon how much time you have already spent on PSIR. So do not take some radical decision by one or two thoughts someone has advised you. Take time, try to understand whether switching to anthropology will help you or not. If you want, if you are in Delhi, you can come down here in our center and you can have a chat with me. Then we will discuss whether switching to anthro is a good option for you or not. Fine. Astha is asking, sir, one more doubt, which subject should be more favorable, philosophy or anthropology for science background students? I am a bit confused among these two. Astha, since your question is very objective here, for science background, I would suggest anthropology is the better option, because in philosophy you need a certain skill of creative writing also, that whatever you are thinking, in philosophy it is all about thoughts. Now if you have the skill of translating that thought into your expression, then you are best suited for philosophy optional there. But since you are from science background and I presume that you have not done that kind of writing yet, so it may become very may feel very disappointing for you that when you read and understand a theory, but while writing you are not able to express that in the same way you are thinking, right? So if there is a mismatch in your thought and in your expression, that becomes very difficult for you. So If I were to give you a suggestion here, definitely you have a science background, you can go for anthropology. It is a very objective subject, and writing answer is also you can create mechanical frameworks and use it in your answers in the final examination. So in that sense, anthropology is the best suited option, but again it comes down to the personal choice and interest. If you want to discuss more on that, you can definitely talk to the management team, drop in a request for personal connect. I will talk to you personally and we will sit together or try to find out what is the good option for you, right? Pursue IS is asking, sir, ideal marks kitne hone chahiye in anthropology? Okay, so if you have taken anthropology optional or decided to take anthropology optional, definitely you might have heard that 300 plus is very easily achievable here, right? People are getting 300 plus marks in anthropology, so I should also take this optional. So definitely yes, the optional or the subject has a potential to provide you 300 plus marks, but you have to be very dedicated in that manner that you start properly, you understand the path, right direction, and in right direction if you are doing your work from concept building plus PYQ analysis plus answer writing. If you take care of these three things properly, definitely getting 280 plus marks or 300 plus marks is not a very difficult task. But as I told you earlier, it totally depends upon your dedication. So if you are setting up a goal of 300 plus marks, at the same time you take care of the trivial things, the smaller things, because if you are not taking care of the trivial things, you should not aim for the bigger one. You start with small targets, you complete these small targets perfectly, and these small targets will add up to provide you the final output which you are looking for, that can be a 300 plus marks in the subject, right? And if you are asking about the individual answer marks, I told you about the overall 300 plus marks in the subject, but for a particular question, if the question is from physical anthropology, you should look for 60 to 70% of marks there. For example, if a question from physical anthropology is of 10 marks, you can get 6 or 7 marks there. But if it is from socio-cultural part, getting 4.5 or 5 marks would be an ideal target for you, right? So totally based on the topic, whether it is subjective in nature or whether it is objective in nature, based on that only we can take, or you can say keep a target for you, that I should be looking for 50% marks in socio-cultural, I should be looking for 60 to 70% marks in physical anthropology. Combining these two together, definitely you will be able to cross 280, 290 or 300 plus marks in the paper. But the idea catch here is that you should be taking care of the essentials, which is what? Conceptual clarity. Second, understanding the boundary areas, thrust areas from previous year questions. Then answer writing practice on a daily basis through the reflective exercise which we provide, plus the test series, sectional test series after one cycle of revision, mock test after second cycle of revision. If you take care of these smaller things, I can assure you that you will be able to get 280 or 300 plus marks in the subject, because the subject has the potential to provide you that much of marks. In other subject you might not get 300 plus with the minimal amount of effort which you are putting in anthropology. Yes, definitely someone can get 300 plus marks in history as well, people have gotten that, but the amount of effort they might have given in the subjects like history, geography or political science, if you compare the efforts, you can achieve 300 plus marks in lesser effort in anthropology. So take that decision very wisely when you are choosing your optional subject. Fine. Okay, Percy IS is asking that daily basis पे anthropology को कितना time देना चाहिए and is coaching necessary? Again, on a daily basis, totally depends, as I earlier told you, that totally depends on when you are targeting your final examination, how much time do you have. Based on that, you will have to see that how much time to give to GS paper, how much time you have for optional. So it could be 2 hours, 3 hours on a daily basis, not an issue. And your second question is coaching necessary? Again, you see, if I am saying that coaching is necessary, which is not right. Anyone can, you are a graduate student, if you want to study a new subject, you have resources available, you can do it on your own. That is non-deniable. Self-study, you can do it. But you will have to see that do we have that much of time to explore 10 different books, find out what is relevant from that book, find out what are the thrust areas by analyzing the previous year question, then writing answers, then analyzing whether the answer is good or not. So all of that can be done by self-study. But do you have that much of time? That is the question. If yes, you have 3 years of time, you are preparing, started preparation 3 years from now, yes, you can go ahead and do the self-study. But if you are targeting for the next year, you do not have that much of time to explore 10 different books and read it, right? So there comes the role of a coaching institute where you get to read the subject from an expert. The expert or the institute will do the research work for which you do not have the time. Create a material. By reading that, you should not be hopping around in 10 different books. So that exercise is being done by us. We are doing that exercise for you so that you save up on your time. You just have to attend the class, understand the concept, read the material which is given to you, write the answer, get it evaluated by me, get the feedback and progress your preparation. So if someone has a time crunch, definitely coaching becomes essential. And while choosing any coaching institute also, you should keep in mind that for an optional subject, and if the subject is very new to you, you must choose a mentor who is providing you time personally, because you may have very silly doubts as well because you are dealing with a new subject. So you need someone who understands that pain, that what aspirants go when they go for a new subject. So it is very important that you see in the coaching institute's program that how much personal time will you get from the faculty. If you are not getting personal time from the faculty, you are not able to interact with your problems, you are not able to do the SWOT analysis with the faculty, then one-way communication or the content consumption will not help you. So be very wise in choosing coaching institute if you are going for a coaching. That it is very important that you need little bit of hand holding in preparation of the new subject, right? So wherever you get that personal attention, go for it, talk to the mentor, talk to the faculty and then make your choice whether to go for coaching or not. Suhana is asking that sir batch kab start hoga? Next week we are starting our foundation course. Go to our website, see the program, details are given in the website. If you have any doubts regarding the course or you want to know a little more about the course, upcoming course, you can directly connect with me. You get my number from the management, you can call me, we can have a discussion to understand that what we are going to do in the course there. Basically we are starting foundation course as well as Q&A program also. Foundation course is for new aspirants who are planning for 2024 examination. So this is an ideal time from Feb to June. You can complete your optional paper right now, then you can go for your GS preparation. And Q&A program is for people who have read the subject once and need a particular course which will help in revising, which will help in answer writing, which will help in mentorship. So combining all the things together, we have created Q&A program as well. So look for that also if you have gone through the subject once. If you are new to the subject, go for foundation course. Krishna is asking, sir, what can be the best strategy to score 300 plus marks in anthropology optional? See, the best strategy would be, number one, that you stop thinking about 300 plus marks now. You start to think what smaller steps I can take to complete the entire syllabus, have conceptual clarity, build on the answer writing skills, work on my presentation and structure of answer, do regular answer writing practice at least for 3-4 months, daily basis, write 2 answers, get it evaluated by your faculty, see whether you are improving on the answer writing or not, see whether you are improving on conceptual clarity on the topics or not. If you take care of these 4-5 things I told you, definitely you will get 300 plus marks in your final examination. But at this moment you should stop thinking about the number 300 plus. You think about the smaller targets which you have to take at this stage, complete that with honesty. Definitely those smaller tasks will be compounded and you will see the effect of compounding. As you know, in the financial terms, that compounding has a large impact on creating or achieving your goals, right? Similarly here also, you take care of the smaller things, definitely you will get 300 plus marks in your optional paper. Suhana is asking, as I am planning for 2025, so I want that I complete my syllabus and then join the test series to be confident for the exam. Yes, Suhana, you can complete the entire syllabus first and then go for the test series. But my suggestion would be here that you look for a course where the basic understanding is given in terms of the foundation course, plus the test series is also included there. So when you are studying the concepts on a daily basis, you must write few questions, get it evaluated by the faculty. So this will make your mind and hand in coordination. In the 3 or 4 months of time, you might have written 150 to 200 answer and got it evaluated by the faculty. So that kind of course if you are getting, definitely go for that. And with foundation you get the access of test series also, where when you revise the entire thing again, go for the sectional test, revise the entire thing again, go for the mock test. So if you get all the package together, go for it now. Even if you have to write it in 2025, this is the best time that you complete the entire syllabus, then only revision is left. After that you work on your GS papers and parallelly allocate 2 hours of time daily for revision. Your optional will become so strong that you will go in your prelims examination with confidence that if I clear the prelims exam, my optional is already ready. I'll have to just revise and go in the examination. So this is the best time. You should not spend it in you can say random preparation, because you will see that suddenly 6 months will be passed and you will realize that I have not completed any part of the syllabus, right? So it is very essential from the starting day itself, you go with the plan and execute the smaller things with the course, right? In 4-5 months of time you will see the difference. You will have a better clarity and understanding about the subject anthropology there. Percio AS is asking, थोड़ा राइटिंग के बारे में बता दीजिए, कब से शुरू करना चाहिए? ऑल्सो सर मैं मराठी मीडियम से हूँ तो इंग्लिश कितना इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा? फाइन. सो आंसर राइटिंग आपको बहुत जल्दी ही स्टार्ट करना चाहिए. इसलिए नहीं कि आपको बहुत अच्छा स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है पहले से. पहले दिन आप अच्छा स्ट्रक्चर नहीं बना पाएंगे क्योंकि आपको एग्जाम के रिक्वायरमेंट के बारे में नहीं पता है. लेकिन इतना तो आपको पता है कि जो चीज़ आप सोच रहे हैं उसको लिखना आना चाहिए. तो सिर्फ उस चीज़ के लिए आपको आंसर राइटिंग पहले दिन से शुरू करना है. अगर आप कल्चर पहले क्लास में कल्चर पढ़ रहे हैं, कल्चर के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स पढ़ रहे हैं, उसको आप समझ रहे हैं, तो एटलीस्ट आपको इतना समझ आना चाहिए कि उस डेफिनेशन को मैं पेपर पे बिना देखे कैसे लिखूं, उन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को मैं पेपर पे बिना देखे कैसे लिखूं। सिर्फ ये प्रैक्टिस अगर आप 2-3 महीने कर लेते हैं, बिना प्रेजेंटेशन और स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में सोचे बिना, सिर्फ ये प्रैक्टिस अगर आप कर रहे हैं कि जो मैं सोच रहा हूं वो मैं पेपर पे लिख पा रहा हूं या नहीं, इतने से ही आंसर राइटिंग का आधा काम आपका हो चुका है। उसके बाद जब आप फुल लेंथ सेक्शनल टेस्ट और मॉक टेस्ट देना चाहते हैं, तब आप थोड़ा समझिए, टॉपर्स के आंसर्स को देखिए, एक बार मुझसे आप बात कीजिए कि आपके आंसर में स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होना चाहिए, प्रेजेंटेशन कैसा होना चाहिए, फिर आप स्ट्रक्चर और प्रेजेंटेशन पे काम करें, फिर आंसर राइटिंग और टेस्ट लिखना आपके लिए बहुत आसान हो जाएगा। तो अगर कोई ये कहता है कि आप पूरा सिलेबस पहले पढ़ लो फिर आंसर राइटिंग स्टार्ट करना, वो अपने हिसाब से वो सही कह रहे हैं, लेकिन मेरा ये सजेशन होगा कि आप स्टार्टिंग से ही एटलीस्ट लिखने की प्रैक्टिस कर लें। स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में ना सोचें, जो भी आप पढ़ रहे हैं, जो भी आप समझ रहे हैं, उसको खाली पेज पे लिखने की प्रैक्टिस करें, क्योंकि ये प्रैक्टिस करने में भी 2-3 महीने का समय लगता है। इसके पहले आपने हो सकता है आंसर अच्छे से ना लिखे हों, तो किसी के लिए ये आसान हो सकता है कि वो पूरा पढ़ने के बाद आंसर लिखना शुरू करें, लेकिन अगर आप ये रियलाइज करते हैं कि आपको पहले से प्रैक्टिस करनी चाहिए, तो डेली बेसिस पे 2 आंसर लिख के आप ये प्रैक्टिस 3 महीने तक बिल्ड कीजिए, उसके बाद आप फुल लेंथ टेस्ट के लिए जाइए। और जहां तक बात रही मराठी मीडियम से होने की और इंग्लिश कितना इम्पॉर्टेंट है, देखिए इंग्लिश में आपको बेयर मिनिमम इंग्लिश की रिक्वायरमेंट है। मैं खुद एक हिंदी मीडियम का छात्र रहा हूं पहले, लेकिन ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आप जो बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं इंग्लिश की, वो आप गेन कर सकते हैं। वो कहाँ से आता है? वो आप न्यूज़पेपर रीड करते हैं, वो आप अपने बुक्स पढ़ते हैं, वहाँ से आप अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्ड करते हैं। वोकैबुलरी बहुत हाई फाई रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए, बेसिक वर्ड्स यूज़ करके ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट सेंटेंस फॉर्म करने चाहिए। तो ये आप बस आंसर्स की प्रैक्टिस करोगे इंग्लिश में लिखने की, ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वो हो जाएगा। अगर आप मेरे साथ आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, तो आप इस इंग्लिश वाले कंपोनेंट पे भी मुझसे अलग से बात कर सकते हो कि कैसे उस चीज़ को इम्प्रूव किया जाए, क्या क्या चीज़ें आपको स्टेप वाइज करनी है कि आपका जो सोचने का, क्योंकि आप मराठी मीडियम से हैं तो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है कि आप पहले मराठी में सोचते होंगे या हिंदी में सोचते होंगे, उसको ट्रांसलेट करके आप इंग्लिश में लिखते हैं। जो लोग कॉन्वेंट से पढ़ते हैं उनका फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश होता है, वो सोचते ही इंग्लिश में है, तो उनके लिए लिखना आसान हो जाता है। तो इसमें बहुत डिफिकल्टी वाली बात नहीं है, थोड़ा सा पहले से आपको उस चीज़ पे काम करना पड़ेगा। आप मुझसे बात कीजिएगा, हम लोग बैठ के ये देख लेंगे कि कैसे आप इन चीज़ों को टैकल कर सकते हैं। ठीक है, सो इफ एनीवन हैव any other doubts, you can put it in the comment section. I am seeing the comment sections is Suhana. Okay, thank you Suhana for your questions here. Fine. So I hope you got an understanding for the subject. We have taken enough doubts here. Basically these are the doubts which people have when they are looking for a new subject or whether to go for this subject or not. यही सारे doubts आते हैं। अगर आपके दिमाग में और भी कोई डाउट है जो आप पूछना चाहते हैं, आप कमेंट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं, लाइव में उसका आंसर दूंगा। So ये चीज building blocks, I hope these building blocks are clear for the subject, that socio-cultural part is there, physical part is there, linguistic and archaeology. What is the relevance of these blocks in the overall ambit of the subject? That needs to be realized properly. Then only you will be able to have a bird's eye view that whatever you are reading, suppose you have started a particular unit, but you do not know that unit comes from which of these section, what is the relevance of these section. So you will not get a bigger picture of that unit. To have that bigger picture, definitely you need to be aware of these building blocks. So I would suggest people, before jumping into starting a unit directly from the syllabus, try to understand the syllabus first, that why a particular section is given in our syllabus, what is the relevance of socio-cultural, what is the relevance of physical, what is the relevance of archaeological, linguistic, etc. So having a clarity on building blocks is very essential. Then you should be having clarity on the path which I was talking about earlier, understanding the requirement of the syllabus through micro listing. When you have the micro listing of the syllabus with you, then go for analyzing the previous year questions. Previous year questions will give you, set a boundary for your preparation, that you should not start something and should not, you are not aware where to stop. So you get the boundary, then you get the thrust areas from where the UPSC is asking those questions, and most importantly you will get to know that how they are framing the question, the examiner is framing the question. Because when you understand the journey of concept to question or question to concept, you get to know or understand how to preempt a probable question. So understanding the psyche of the examiner is also very important whenever you are studying something. Then note making becomes very important while you are preparing. Note has to be in line with the final output. Do reverse engineering there also, that you know what is an ideal answer. In that ideal answer, what all component has to be there. Based on that final output, you create your notes. For example, if in a ideal answer there should be examples, there should be case study, there should be the conceptual clarity should be visible in the answer. So when you are creating your notes, all those components has to be there in your notes, otherwise you will not be able to use those notes properly. Right? So there also you do the reverse engineering. In understanding the question, also do the reverse engineering, that how from a question a concept can be extracted and then it should be prepared. Right? If you take care of these things, then becomes the role of answer writing practice. If you join the course on a daily basis, you get the reflective exercises, write 2 answers on daily basis, get it evaluated by me, see your progress and understand your strength, weaknesses, opportunity and threat by sitting with me, analyze your do your SWOT analysis and then progress in your preparation. Once you complete the syllabus, you have done a fair amount of answer writing practice, then go for the test series where you revise one section and do the sectional test, and once all the sectional tests are done, then revise the second round, do the second round of revision, go for the mock tests given, right. So that should be the ideal strategy or path for you to take in the preparation of the optional subject, right. Muzammil, can you repeat your question? You are saying, sir, please answer my question. Please repeat your question. Meanwhile, Randhir is saying, sir, thanks for your valuable suggestion. Thank you, Randhir. Suhana, thank you. Divyansu, foundation batch में क्या कोई book पढ़नी पड़ेगी या notes will be enough? See, I'm not saying books नहीं पढ़नी चाहिए, बिल्कुल पढ़नी चाहिए. आपको एक अच्छी clarity मिलती है books पढ़ने से, एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्ड होती है, लेकिन साथ साथ आपको ये भी समझना होगा कि क्या वो बुक पढ़ने के लिए आपके पास समय है या नहीं है. अगर आपके पास समय नहीं है, आप टाइम क्रंच में प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं कि आपको 3 महीने में कंप्लीट करना है पूरा सिलेबस, तब आप अगर मल्टीपल बुक्स पढ़ेंगे तो उसमें थोड़ी डिफिकल्टी हो सकती है. इसलिए जो अगर आप हमारे नोट्स से तैयारी कर रहे हैं, मैं जनरली क्लास में क्लास नोट्स देता हूँ, डिक्टेट करवाता हूँ, वो चीज़ें आपके कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए इनफ होंगी. की पॉइंट्स उसमें आपके क्लास नोट्स में ही अवेलेबल होंगे. जो एडिशनल पॉइंट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है वो मेरे मटेरियल से आपको मिल जाएगी. तो अगर ये दोनों चीज़ आप कंबाइन करके तैयारी करते हैं, दैट शुड बी मोर देन इनफ. अगर उसके बाद भी आपके पास समय है तो आप मुझसे बुक की लिस्ट ले लीजिए. उन बुक्स को जब भी समय मिले आप पढ़िए, आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग और एनरिच होगी. तो बुक्स पढ़ने में कोई हर्ज नहीं है, लेकिन आपको ये समझना होगा क्या मेरे पास उतना समय है या नहीं. ये सवाल अगर पहले पूछें तो बेहतर होगा. अगर समय है जरूर पढ़िए बुक, अगर समय नहीं है सिर्फ क्लास नोट और मटेरियल पढ़ के आप अच्छा मार्क्स लेके आ सकते हैं. खान शयन इज सेइंग, सर स्टार्ट कैसे करें, मैंने लेट ज्वाइन किया. आई थिंक आप ये लेट ज्वाइन सेशन लेट ज्वाइन करने को कह रहे हैं. ये वीडियो आपके पास YouTube में अवेलेबल रहेगी, उसको आप दोबारा से देख लीजिए। उसमें मैंने स्टार्ट करने का तरीका बताया। बेसिकली अगर आप नए हैं सब्जेक्ट में तो आपको फाउंडेशन कोर्स से स्टार्ट करना होगा, जहाँ पे 3 से 4 महीने के समय में हम लोग पूरे कोर्स को कंप्लीट करते हैं विथ कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी, एनालाइजिंग द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन, और साथ में आपको प्रॉपर आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस कराई जाएगी डेली बेसिस पे, प्लस आपको टेस्ट सीरीज दी जाएगी जिससे आप पूरे सिलेबस को रिवाइज करके टेस्ट प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं। तो एक पूरा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्रिपरेशन जो नए स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए हम डिजाइन करके ले आ रहे हैं। आप इस वीडियो को दोबारा देखिएगा, आपको क्लैरिटी मिल जाएगी इस चीज की। हाँ बिल्कुल खान शयन, ये सब्जेक्ट नया है तो आपको उसी तरीके से इसे अप्रोच करना पड़ेगा। नए सब्जेक्ट, अगर ऐसा सब्जेक्ट होता जिसको आपने पहले पढ़ा है तो आप मिनिमल एफर्ट के साथ उसको तैयारी कर सकते थे, लेकिन क्योंकि ये नया सब्जेक्ट है आपके लिए तो आपको एक प्रॉपर गाइडेंस और प्रॉपर स्ट्रक्चर की ज़रूरत होगी, जिसके वे में, क्योंकि अदरवाइज आप अगर बुक लेके पढ़ने बैठेंगे तो वो काफ़ी समय आपका वहाँ पे वेस्ट हो जाएगा। तो आप फाउंडेशन कोर्स में जाइए, फरवरी से, अभी नेक्स्ट वीक से हम लोग फाउंडेशन कोर्स स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। आप वेबसाइट पे जाके उस चीज़ को देख सकते हैं। अगर कुछ डाउट्स हो तो मैनेजमेंट से बात करके आप मुझसे बात कर सकते हैं। हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे कि इस टाइम पे आपके लिए फाउंडेशन कोर्स सही रहेगा या नहीं। इनिशियल स्टेजेस में अगर आप फाउंडेशन लेके कोर्स को कंप्लीट कर लेते हैं तो आपके पास काफ़ी समय रहता है रिवाइज करने के लिए और आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए। तो ये आई थिंक ये बेटर टाइम होगा अगर आप नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं कि ऑप्शनल को पहले आप 3-4 महीने का समय देके कंप्लीट कर लीजिए। Okay, Muzammil is asking that, sir, my state PCS is in June. Should I do completely anthro first or do GS side by side also? Okay, so in state PCS also you will be having the optional subject, so which has a major importance there. So I would suggest you to go for the optional subject, completing it. So even if you write other state examination or UPSC, anthro will be there. If anthro is your optional, it will be there. So if you have completed the subject first, directly you can use the same information in all the examination. The syllabus remains the same, the content remains the same, just you can you need to restructure your answer based on the marks allocated. In some state pieces there could be 20 marker, 30 marker question, so according to that you will have to elaborate your points. Otherwise the content is same, the concepts are same, you just need to complete it once, then you can use that in multiple examination, whether state PCS or UPSC. Nishant is asking, sir, should we make notes or mark important things in book? Nishant, I would suggest you to make a separate note, because at the end of your preparation before the examination you should be having a crisp notes in your hand. You cannot open the books and again read the entire thing repeatedly, right? So that may sound convenient that you will underline in the book itself, but revising it becomes a very difficult, because when you create separate notes, there you are writing things in your own words. So the memorizing ability becomes higher when you have written it by yourself, not from the language of the book, because it will not be replicable for you. So try to make a separate note. If you are doing an initial read, first read, go for underlining, there is no harm in that. But in second round of reading, try to extract the core information from the book and create a separate note point wise. This will be very helpful for your later rounds of revision. Fine. So this was the basic, you can say, understanding. I have taken all the doubts which you all have put in the comment section. I hope this discussion will help you in understanding the core of the subject, how you should approach. You should get a path of your preparation beforehand, before you start the journey. And we at GS Score are always available for your help. Whenever you need to discuss something, you need to have some clarity upon the subject or your preparation, you can reach out to us and discuss your doubts here. We are starting our batches in the next week. Go through the website, see whether the requirement of you can say the course helps you in your preparation or not. Assess that thing and then go for the course. We are starting in the next week. This course will go on till June. You will be able to complete the entire syllabus in 3 to 4 months of time. So I hope your queries are being addressed properly. If not, then you can put your comments here, or you can contact the management to get a one-on-one session with me. If you want to discuss something, we can connect over call, or you can come down to our center and visit me. We can have a discussion. Okay, so we'll conclude this session. Thank you so much for joining to this session. I appreciate your patience. I hope this discussion helps you in your preparation. Thank you so much.